Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Shelf Comics. I'm Tommy, joined by Murphy.
Hello.
We're back for this week's top 5 comics for the week of January 15th, 2025. Our first top 5 of the year.
First top 5 of the year. Happy New Year's, everybody.
We got a bunch of exciting books this week. They were last week's, next week's top 5, but now it is this week. So here we are. Maybe a week, maybe an extra week.
Was it last week's or last week's?
Who can say? But today, our number 5 this week, we have Shadow of the Golden Crane, number 1. A mysterious BPRD case in the 1960s forces Agent Sue Yang to dive into the history of the secretive Golden Crane Society and into the questions in her own family past as well. Hellboy creator Mike Mignola is joined by writer Chris Robertson and artist Michael Avon Oming. In his paranormal puzzle that unfolds across time, ties in with Hellboy and the BPRD 1950s. Agent Sue is a standalone series.
This is pretty cool to me. I mean, it's the creator of Hellboy with writers and artists who pretty much do Hellboy. And BPRD stuff. Like it's cool to have them all kind of together like that.
Yeah.
To tell more stories in that universe. I also feel like Hellboy I thought was like splashing like a year or so ago and was going to pick up, and then I really didn't see
I feel like
much.
that's always Hellboy though. Every time it comes back.
Agreed. I mean, they had started tying him in with DC stuff. And then it kind of just it seemed like it fizzled out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool.
It's back at Dark Horse, so maybe it was some kind of contract stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's always something, right?
Yeah. Moving on to our number 4 this week, we got Rogue, the Savage Land, number 1.
Journey into the Lost World with Rogue, Magneto, Kazar, and more. The X-Man called Rogue has always been a survivor, but without her mutant powers, she'll need to prove it like never before. As the Savage Land turns towards war, Rogue will need all her skills to survive dinosaurs, mutates, and the master of magnetism himself. Writer Tim Seeley and new artist sensation Zulema Scott Lavina tell a story of a lost world. Rogue. I like
Seeley.
Yeah, Tim Seeley first off, but I like that Rogue has gotten so much attention. I feel like in the main line, well, yeah, of course, look at the cover. But in the main line of X-Men, she's huge.
Yeah,
I think they've really done a good job of turning her into a powerhouse character in the X-Men universe.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, the Savage Land, I feel like, doesn't get as much time as it used to.
No, of course not.
not anymore.
It's not the 90s.
This cover looks very 90s.
It does. And so do some of the variants.
I didn't even see them.
Oh yeah. Variants. There's going to be variants this whole series.
Variants on variants of Rogue wearing ripped up clothing.
This series, yes. This series is to sell variants of said item.
They're like, how can you fight dinosaurs with clothes on?
Obviously, some will get ripped.
That's ridiculous. Like, you can't have clothes.
Very silly, but also very exciting. Almost as exciting as our number 3 this week. Green Lantern: Fractured Spectrum, number 1. Following the events of the Civil Corps, a new era in Green Lantern mythology begins. Once again, Oa has become the epicenter of the Green Lantern Corps, bringing justice to the furthest corners of the galaxy. But a new threat has emerged, being the manifest, uncontrolled parts of the emotional spectrum have randomly appeared throughout the universe. Dubbed Fractal Lanterns, Hal and reformed Green Lantern Corps set off to police this strange new phenomenon while uncovering a sinister plot that could eliminate the very essence of sentient life. So this is cool. I really do enjoy Green Lantern when they are like, when it's like peak Green Lantern, universe saving, but not every time kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like the one that pulls all the Green Lanterns together, that pulls the different color spectrums together to figure out what's going on.
Well, and seemingly with this too, it's tied to, you know, the main canon right now, where, I mean, the Lantern Corps was all messed up. Yeah, they weren't even together, basically. Like
Sure.
how Jordan was quarantined on Earth after events from not the Absolute Power event, but the one before it, the Lazarus Planet, I think. So now they're back together, and I agree. I like it when it's, you know, the Lanterns are actually doing what Lanterns are meant to do. You know, instead of being spread out so thin, and you get a little bit of Hal Jordan here and a little bit of John Stewart, you know, when it's actually a Green Lantern group. Is when I
do too.
And also, I mean, it was as much as I liked the last Green Lantern run, but like I said, it was basically Hal Jordan versus an entire like evil organization of like Lantern killers almost.
Yeah.
They had lanterns that had rings that could switch between the different spectrums.
Right.
And so like now having the status quo kind of getting back to it is something I'm excited for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, this will be fun. I probably will do what I typically do and wait for it to finish and then just read it all on the app.
I'd assume. I mean, it's the start of a new, you know, year of DC Comics.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
the stuff what started 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this will go for a year, 6 months to a year.
Yeah, and then in 2026 we'll get whatever the results of this are, the new number ones, and
yeah.
But speaking of new number ones, now our number 2 this week is Wolverine number 1. Ultimate Wolverine number 1.
The Maker's ultimate weapon. From Rising Star, Chris Condon, and Moon Knight powerhouse artist Alessandro Cappuccio comes the story of the ultimate Wolverine. In order to obtain control of their corner of the Maker's world, 3 members of his council, Magic, Colossus, and Omega Red, deploy their most lethal asset, the Winter Soldier. But who is the weapon behind the mask? I'm super pumped for this. I mean, we've been real high on the Ultimate and Absolute stuff, and this is gonna be cool.
Did you see the headlines about the Absolute Universe pulling DC, grabbing some more market share?
Oh, really?
They're starting. Yeah, those books are really selling.
Yeah, and I mean these ones too. I imagine this one now might be just like hopeful, but I think this is gonna be like the Ultimate Spider-Man of this year, because and you're getting Ultimate Wolverine, and technically he's a villain. Like, he is the Winter Soldier for, you know, Russia in the Maker's new universe, and I'm wondering if it's Logan. You know,
I mean, the cover kind of appears so.
I mean, you'd think, but at the end of the day,
well, not the main cover, the variant cover.
The variant cover?
Yeah. Let's see. No, it is a variant, so I mean.
Oh yeah, you're right. But either way, I mean, it's a cool concept. Yeah. Basically, since the Maker got to recreate the world, and he picked which superpower beings came back with their superpowers when he remade the Ultimate Universe. And this one made it, you know? But also, I mean, I don't like that Magic and Colossus are bad guys. But
What can you do? What can
there's
you
gonna
do?
be a redemption arc at
Yeah,
some point, right?
right. You got to go bad to be redeemed, right?
But I get the feeling this is gonna be a badass series. Like he's the one that they send in when everything is going wrong. And I get the feeling it's not gonna be your typical Wolverine story. Obviously not, but with him being basically the Winter Soldier, I
Right.
think it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah. No,
He's definitely gonna learn. He's gonna like break the conditioning and brainwashing they have for him.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be fun. But something that'll be a little less fun, but spooky, our number one. You won't feel a thing. Scott Snyder and Jacques. Modern comic writing legend Scott Snyder reunites with iconic horror artist Jacques to tell the story of an alien detective's past come back to haunt him. Years ago, Jack Bernard and an accomplished homicide detective, so accomplished that it cost him everything else in his life. Now Jack finds himself alone, trapped in a retirement home with a brain tumor that's slowly sapping his once keen mind of all memories. But when an ice-cold serial killer case from out of his past rears its head, Jack must call on all his remaining memories in order to stop a killer that only he still believes really exists. You Won't Feel a Thing is a sobering murder mystery exploring the anguish of a man whose own body and mind has turned against him and the desire to find meaning in one's own life before it unravels.
And then you have your paragraph about the perfect bound prestige format.
For fans of Zodiac, Memento, and True Detective.
Hey,
I dodged it this time.
You did. You managed to, because I've fallen into it almost every time we have a But I mean, honestly, I was wondering when this book was going to come out, when Distillery launched, and they were like, "Oh, Scott Snyder," and then they said Jock was going to be the first book, but it was just Jock. Like, how long till they put Jock and Snyder back together? And I get the feeling like I've said with almost every one of the major releases from Distillery, it's like you put these two together, they gotta come out with a good book. Like you don't just put these two creators together and like put out something. You know, you're gonna put out a powerhouse book.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Also, how has Snyder not run out of murder mysteries?
It's a genre that you just can't run out of stuff.
But let's see, are there any good? Oh yeah, there's the
Tula Latoy,
Tula Latoy. Yeah,
Jay Lee, and a blank.
this is. I mean, these books I will buy variants over the main cover a lot. Like pretty much whenever I go pick up comics, I look and see what they have on the shelf as opposed to just taking the cover A.
Yeah.
Because I feel like all of their variants are so good.
They really are.
Weirdly enough, no like second Jock cover.
No.
But yeah, no, this one's gonna be good.
He did the main, so it's kind of like why I have a.
Well, they've done it before.
Yeah, but yeah.
Hell, I think he had 3 covers for Gone.
But that's his book, like, though. That's his book.
And he had 3 covers.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, especially with everything.
Well, because you need variant covers, and what? It's your book. You wrote it. You did the cover. You did the art, and you're gonna have someone do the variant cover? No, you're just gonna do other variant covers.
You're just gonna do more covers.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially with everything that Distillery has announced is gonna happen this year. Like, I'm excited for this being the first release of the year. I'm wondering how many issues it is too. Is it gonna be one of those 4? And it's only got 1 planned right now, or at least.
Well, what we do know is that every issue from Distillery is presented in their perfect bound prestige format.
But yeah, I mean, there's only one solicitation right now, so I assume it's going to be a while before issue 2. But oh well.
Yeah,
I'm here
excited
for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But cool. Anything else before this week's comics or last week's comics and next week's comics or this week's comics?
No. If any of you guys out there are playing Rivals,
True. Yeah.
Tommy and I have been all over it. So
It's been a lot of fun.
let us know what you think. We're gonna turn this channel into a Rivals channel.
Just start playing Rivals.
Just start streaming Rivals on Tommy's shelf.
We could. We have the technology.
I've already learned too much by putting Discord on my PlayStation, and I still don't know how to add people. So let's start there.
We'll figure it out. But until next week, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.